Okay. First video of 2026. And, we're already off on an interesting start. Oh boy. First, I should probably quickly mention this video is going to contain me being honest, which will contain a couple minor immature language. So, for the sake of adults not getting at me over their basically pure children learning a couple bad words. So, yeah, you're probably better off watching something else. I'll put it that. Now then, even if I don't care for The Incredibles, I'll make this meme. I'm not happy, Mattel. Not happy. Okay, there's your meme. Happy? Whatever. Now, on the final days up until Christmas Eve, or Christmas Day, for God's sake, for Christmas, right before Christmas Day in 2025, we got leaks of new Thomas merch for 2026, and, okay. I have really mixed feelings on them, most of which are positive, don't worry. So, let's get at the negatives out of the way first. First up is addressing the big, disgusting looking elephant in the room. The faces. Sweet baby Jesus, what the hell are these faces? This face is meant to be James? Okay, well, I can kind of see a resemblance but only if you qualify the illustrations by Clive Spong, in which the engines all have very samey faces. The rest? To any other version of James? Ew. Why? And Henry is a much better. Like, what the freak is his face? This isn't Henry. This is freaking Haribo. Why did I say Haribo? Whatever. So, the engines, as seen, just have these, questionable faces. Now, when you put these really ugly looking orange and Sco, but even worse faces on these actually good looking toys, it just ruins it, man. Okay, it doesn't help the engines now have more human looking eyelids and more weird and more natural mouths, which don't really complement their designs all that well. Thomas also doesn't seem to have his titular triangle eyebrows anymore, which is a bit of a shame. Like, they were so iconic on him. Why, Mattel? Why? Gordon straight up looks like a toddler. James is the worst case, though. His eyebrows don't curl up around like the edges of them, and his nose is now triangular, as if he was to match. Wait, is it to match Henry and Gordon, with him being a big engine? I wonder. Okay, Percy's face is kind of alright, but it's not really a face I'd associate with Percy, if that makes any sense. Like, the face doesn't really work. It kind of is. It looks like it's trying to rip off the smug face he had in both the model and CGI series, which did it better, if I'll be honest. Nia. She's Nia, like, it's not really that big of a deal. And unlike a certain Trump-obsessed Thomas fan, I'm not super hated to. I don't really hate Nia all that much. But seriously, mate, like deport her because of Trump, like, bloody hell, Jesus. Like, that's necessary, don't you think? Anyway. And since they don't have any motorized models yet, I will have to base Henry and Annie off their diecast models. Henry, that straight up does not look like Henry. Like, mate, that is no Henry face. You could not convince me for a minute. But the worst one, in my opinion, or like the worst, or the most confusing one, is Annie. What? What? Why are you going back to the season 12 concept arts? Like, why are you giving her a great face? Like, what? I've heard some people say they actually do like the idea of Annie and Clarabelle not having grey faces to better match with the cast, but that is going to be a bit of a hard adjustment. Now, let's own that. Now, as for any other negatives, the way Nia and James in the motorized range look awful. Nia is just too has some weird looking proportions, and since she shares Gordon's chassis, she essentially is permanently connected to this weird Blue Mountain Quarry hopper car thing. Like, why? And the engine and the motorized engines now have a redesigned chassis, which has only really one major negative. They now run on a single AAA battery. These things are going to be working off the same amount of juice of battery as the freaking wooden railway battery powered trains. Oh, for the love of God. Oh, Jesus Christ. Now, as but the rest of what I have to say is mainly positive, thankfully. Now, for the other motorized engines we have as of now, which are Thomas, Percy, and Gordon, actually look kind of good. Thomas and Percy look the most proportionate they've been in a while, and Gordon? Oh, baby, that's a good looking Gordon. I thought this could be the kind of. Imagine if they did this type of Gordon when they did the Orange and SCO range. That'd be cool. Even with a permanently connected tender, I could honestly deal with it. But of course, we know Orange and SCO is in the past now. It's 2026, and the show's over. Oh, and by the way, I should probably debunk this weird image. This is not official. Why? The wheels are different, and at least Mattel would at least understand that Thomas does not have a tender. So, you know. Something else interesting is that Thomas and Gordon seem to be in two different shades of blue. Similar case for Henry and Percy, how the bigger engines have a more deeper shade of blue and green, while Thomas and Percy's are brighter. Honestly, I like this idea. It kind of helps differentiate them more, and I honestly think it can work. Thing is, what the hell will Edward's color be like? That is, if we're getting Edward in this range. Also, the tender engines actually have swiveling bogies. That's a first. And they've also returned to using wooden railway styled magnets like the 2014 to 2016 Take and Play range. I honestly would have preferred. I also kind of wish they would have used Avengers style couplings, because they actually looked good, but whatever. That's in the past anyway, so not much we can honestly do. I'm sorry, Gag Gordon's face is just. He does not look like an adult, he looks like a child. The also first time since the freaking Bandai Bandai Tex Nakayoshi or whatever, Gordon and Henry actually have their proper wheel configurations again. Sweet. Do you know what isn't so sweet? The tenders. It's not the fact they're permanently attached again, like Ertl and Nakayoshi and Bandai Tex and whatever. It's the fact that, similar to how Rebecca was made in the Wooden Railway range, they now have freaking a big gap in the middle of their tenders where a third pair of wheels should be. Like, why? Like, why would you design them like that? And they do this to James as well, which is also pretty bad. And James, for the most part, is at the diecast James is actually really good, aside from the tender, and of course, whatever the freak you call this. In general, what is there I can honestly say about these engines? Are they an improvement of what came before? In some ways, yes, and in others, no. At least with the 80th engines, they bothered making their faces look like, the characters we grew up and recognized, and not these goofy looking freaking toddlers. I'm surprised I'm actually giving Orange and Go some credit here, but at least when they give the engines more cartoonish faces, they at least looked subduable and bearable. But these look like they try to classify the Orange and Go faces, and it just it just looks bad. Ew. Jesus freaking Christ. Oh god, that sums up how Gordon looks perfectly. The only other thing that I can think about as negative towards Percy is that the boxes on his side seem make a big gap in the lining, and this ugly splotch of red. I know it's to cover up where the middle wheel mold would have went, but whatever. I do not like it. They could have at least painted it black. The engines also, the Trackmaster range also now uses magnets like Wooden Railway. This I also have an issue with because it means that you can't have a long train anymore. You put like a bare minimum 10 like trucks or whatever, and they're just not going to be able to hold when the engine, not even when an engine gets to a hill, the engine starts off, it's going to have nothing behind it. But it's this range. But in general, do I have high hopes for this new range in 2026? Um, I'll, the best way I can describe it is I don't think. Now, I know the show is obviously isn't out yet, and we shouldn't judge it based on what the merch looks like, and we should wait until the show comes out to give it a chance. But for what I've seen, this show is probably going to flop even more so than Orange and Go. And in general, this reboot is probably not going to be worth the effort, Mattel. At this point, asking Mattel to just revert the show back to a calm, chill little series with engines being locomotives actually being locomotives is basically never going to happen now. So, and we should be adjusted to this stuff by this point, but I'm hoping the show at the least is subduable, that I can deal with it, but chances are it probably won't be. Oh god, they're questioning how the voice actors will be. Maybe they'll be good, I don't know. But yeah, that's what I have to say about the new 2026 merchandise. Honestly, they're both good and bad at the same time. Like, I've definitely seen worse ranges exist, but these are. These just are not good. Most times. I honestly wish this was. I kind of just. I don't even know what to think anymore. It's weird, and I wish it didn't. And I kind of wish it didn't exist because what good does it do? It's very sad, I know. But until then, everyone, I am that one autistic train fan, bringing in almost at 700 subscribers. You should maybe subscribe, maybe, possibly. And until then, I'll see you cranky looking chuffers later. Pa!